Join us now for our COVID-19 Q&A with Dr. Kirsten Carr.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that's tricky about this whole thing is just about how viruses work. Now, we haven't seen as much of this within the coronavirus so far, but viruses also mutate pretty quickly because their life cycles are so quick. So they can adapt. If you think about how humans change over time, it takes us millennia to change characteristics. But it's because our life cycles are 80 years, maybe 40 years when it was, back in the day.
Viruses are smart.
Viruses are, they're not smart, they're survivalists.
Yeah.
So they adapt really quickly, right? So they're like, oh, the ones that happen to have the right characteristics to survive circumstances, survive it and breed, and then those characteristics go on, and they can just reproduce so quickly, so many life cycles, that they can change faster than what we can sometimes keep up with. A lot of people don't realize that there was penicillin resistance before penicillin existed as a medicine, because it existed in the natural world, and some of the bacteria in the world already had adapted to its presence and had already survived being exposed to it, so that they were already equipped with the tools that they needed to survive it. So that's the kind of things we're facing with this, and this is why epidemiologists and infectious disease control doctors and just doctors around the world are very careful. It's why we don't want to throw just any old treatment that we think might be effective at these viruses, because we may be creating smarter bugs before we even have an effective treatment.
Interesting. Okay. Before I forget, I wanted to just note, I meant to do it at the beginning, that we are 6 feet apart at least. So we did this intentionally. That's why you might see us on separate sides of the screen.
And I should also say too, I mean, we should timestamp this maybe a little bit too, Grace, and just say that, like, today is Friday, April 17th, 2020 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time.
This is where we're at.
This is where we're at right now. Like, things have changed so much. Like, I printed off some things to, like, remind myself, like, okay, where are we at today versus 3 months ago, 3 weeks ago, 3 days ago, 3 hours ago. And I think that's also been very challenging, is kind of keeping up with that change. So all I can say is that this is my best estimate based on the information that I've been able to actually glean through at this point in time. And I'm not an epidemiologist, and I'm not an infectious disease specialist, and I'm not, I'm a regular old doctor who's trying my best to keep up on this stuff. So.
And if anybody's watching, if this reaches anybody who hasn't met Dr. Carr or doesn't know her, she's our medical director for Brighton Hospice in Oregon. So that should be noted as well. So kind of shifting focus a little bit, in your opinion, so talking about the marathon, where do you see us as community members and healthcare workers over the next 6 months versus over the next year? How can we prepare ourselves mentally and emotionally for this marathon?
Well, I just am so thankful that this happened in the spring, because to me, the spring, at least in Oregon and hopefully in most parts of where Brighton exists, is a time of rebirth, of regrowth, of resetting our mindsets anyway. It's a time for us to clear out our houses mentally and physically, and kind of just prepare. We've made it through the long winter. We have this energy. We're coming out of our caves, and now it's time to go outside. And so thank goodness we can go outside safely.
Yes.
We can enjoy the beautiful weather. We can enjoy the pollen as it gets into our noses and causes us to sneeze.
Love it.
We can see the blooms coming out and the flowers growing, and we're enjoying what for most of us is the best time of our year as far as weather. Sorry, Las Vegas, it's probably really hot where you are, but I think that this gives us an opportunity to really set some plans for the future. And how do we survive? How do we start setting new patterns and new ways of existing now that then can carry us through what may be, winter months of being unable to really do these sorts of things and really being stuck inside, and the sun isn't going to be out as much, and we're really going to kind of be at a hard spot. How can we start setting our mindset now so that we can do it? And just like with anything, we are made up of our lifetime experiences of having gotten through challenging things, right? Whatever it is for you, whatever you've been through, you are still here because of the conglomerate successes that you've had of facing challenges and getting through them. And you can do that again. It's absolutely possible. And I think what we just have to remember is that the key is just to get there. The key is just to be on the other side. One of my friends shared on social media today this idea that when you travel with children, you can't have any other goal than just getting to your destination, right?
Yeah.
You can't expect, like, I'm going to sit there and very nicely and read my book that I've been setting aside for. No, if you've got an infant, a toddler, or young child, their ears are hurting, the plane gets delayed, something happens, they just didn't understand that you're going to be in this flying tube for several hours, they don't have their snacks, they didn't get their nap, whatever it is, like, your only goal as a parent is to survive the trip intact to your destination. And really, that's our only goal right now. Like, it would be great if we could all just, like, we're gonna write a book, we're gonna, like, start a new business, we're going to, like, do all these amazing things, we're gonna become awesome homeschool parents, we're gonna do all of that to, right? Like, but at the end of the day, really our goal is just to keep ourselves, our patients, our family safe, relatively happy and intact to the destination on the other side. And so I think, you know, giving ourselves grace and being okay with the things that help us get through, you know, like if it means that, you know, we have to, like, have alone time and we have to shut the door and hide in our bathroom or take a hot bath or drink a glass of wine or eat a piece of chocolate or something, that is okay right now. It's okay. It's okay that your kids don't finish all their tasks. It's okay if you didn't get all your chart notes done. It's okay if you forgot to pick up, you know, the thing on your way home from work and now you're gonna have something different for dinner, because that's just what we're having to do. We're all having to do that. So I think, you know, giving ourselves grace, starting to set some routines. I've tried to start going for walks while I'm on Zoom meetings when possible, because that way I can be active and moving and not just stuck in that, you know, kind of lull. And while the weather's nice, that's great. So how am I going to adapt that for when the weather's not nice, right? What can I do? You know, I am realizing that, like, the different family members in my house, where we were all doing all these things in different spaces, we don't often pay attention to the fact, like, oh, my husband really likes to have, you know, this time by himself unscheduled, and I really like to have this time by myself unscheduled, and my son really likes to have his time over here doing this thing. And if we don't pay attention to some of that, then I think it gets a lot harder. But so we have some time. We have some time to prepare. We have some grace to offer, I think, and to give ourselves, and just realizing that the destination and getting there is our primary goal.
I love that. Yeah, and I think I was reading something about, you know, the differences between introverts and extroverts during this time, and I think my takeaway from what you just said, and also everything that's out there, is that it doesn't matter. We're all collectively experiencing this just as humans, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. You like alone time, you don't. It can be challenging for everyone.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know it's really particularly hard when we can't help or do things in the way that we want to be able to, right? I know our social workers and chaplains are having a hard time with that. They can't be there for the families in the way that they used to be able to be there. But what I've seen grow out of that is creative innovations and new ways that we can add to our wheelhouse and toolbox to do in the future.
We'll break out the tiger costume.
Break out tiger costumes in 2 years. I don't know.
Maybe. Cool. That's great. I love it. Thank you.